What's up, everyone? It's me, GOCARLO, and in this episode, we're gonna have a big discussion about One Piece. Is it my favorite series? We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get right into it. Let me know when you got into One Piece. It doesn't matter if you were day one or if now it's your favorite anime. Let us know. What do you think of my thoughts? We're gonna be sharing it all. We're gonna be talking a lot about it. So, when did I get into One Piece? I guess the 4Kids dub. So, One Piece, what I remember from when it first came out is the original story. You know, before I get into the specifics, what came out around when I was a kid is all of them meeting up. Like Luffy meeting Zoro, Luffy meeting Nami, Luffy meeting Usopp, and Sanji, and Chopper. You know, that's what I remember, is all of them meeting up together. You know, around the same time, you know, that Naruto was coming out and I was watching that on Toonami. You know, One Piece came out around the same time. I was more of a fan of Naruto, you know, because, you know, a lot of people complain about the 4Kids dub, and, you know, we only saw a little bit of One Piece. You know, we only got to see the beginning, really. All right, so I just wanted to explain that little piece of history about what I remember from One Piece. But to get further into the review, you know, the first episode here, it's Luffy's backstory. You know, he meets Shanks. And Shanks is just like the fourth Hokage. You know, he's that staple, you know, classic anime cool character. And this whole beginning is very classic, you know, him meeting Zoro, or I call him Zoro because that's what it used to be. Or I'm getting confused between Zoro and Zolo and anyways, all right, but that's all classic, you know, meeting the original crew. I already talked about it, you know, it's nostalgic to me. I even went back and I reread it recently and I forgot about, you know, in the first episode, you know, it even shows you that Shanks lost his arm trying to save Luffy. And they get into some cool lore about, you know, Captain Buggy. So Captain Buggy is another cool character. So Shanks and Buggy were both in Gold Roger's crew together. Buggy is like the first cool pirate bad guy that you see, and he kind of sets the tone for the whole show going forward. But there's a couple more cool villains we're gonna talk about, like him. You know, after that they meet Zolo, they meet Nami, and eventually they meet Usopp. Usopp is a liar. They meet Sanji, the chef. And all those stories are classic, and all the, you know, beginning characters, you know, it gives a lot of the vibes of Dragon Ball and early Dragon Ball. You know, One Piece did premiere before Naruto, and, you know, Naruto's about ninjas, this is about pirates. So I breezed through, you know, talking about all the crew except for one. So after Sanji, and before that was Usopp, came Chopper. Now, something I remember is, I'm pretty sure in Japan, I'm pretty sure that once One Piece introduced Chopper, that there was actually a big boost in popularity in Japan. You know, he was a pretty unique character. I really enjoyed, you know, that part of the story too. Chopper's whole backstory, you know, how he became a doctor, the whole part of the world where he came from, where it was snowy, and everybody in the crew has their purpose. There's a cook, Zoro's the muscle, Nami is the navigator, Usopp, I can't even get into it right now. What does Usopp do? And yeah, Arlong, I'm not gonna touch on Arlong because it's been a little while. But Arlong, by all accounts, is you know, that's where One Piece really starts to shine. There was a lot of little adventures that they went on. You know, they met the whale, and then they met Vivi. So Vivi, yeah, they went on a bunch of adventures with Vivi until they get to Alabasta. And Alabasta is where things got interesting because you meet Ace, Luffy's brother, and then there's also the bad guys and the Marines, like Captain Smoker, and who's that girl swordsman? And there's also, of course, Crocodile, and eventually we meet Nico Robin. But that was just a great arc, and by the end of it, you know, Nico Robin has a power. She can read the hieroglyphics, and she's working with Crocodile until there's many battles with Crocodile, and Crocodile really, you know, shows Luffy how it's done. At the end of it, Robin joins the crew, and Robin's one of my favorite characters. But after Alabasta, you know, they go to Skypiea. You know, they have to go to Sky Island. It's been a while since I've seen that era, but I remember what I like most about that is the bad guy. I was just getting through that part. You know, everybody got cool costumes, I'm pretty sure, in Skypiea. Oh, and there was also the Foxy Pirates. So a lot of people think the Foxy Pirates are annoying, but I remember that as being a classic part of One Piece, you know. Luffy with the boxing gloves and the fro. So after Skypiea and Sky Island and Alabasta, eventually they get to Ernie's Lobby. So Ernie's Lobby, they're fighting, man, who's that guy with the mask? Like Mankind, like Mick Foley, like Cactus Jack. So what really shined for that was, okay, Nico Robin gets kidnapped by them, and that's what really cements her to the crew, you know, is that they really had to fight for her and get her back. But you know what, before then they meet Frankie, and before Ernie's Lobby is Water 7, and you know, that's where they meet, that's where they see where ships are built, and they meet Frankie and Frankie's whole crew. A lot of cool characters there. But Frankie doesn't really join the crew yet, but pretty fast he unofficially joins the crew. And then they all have to fight a lot of cool characters. The Van Lucci, they have to fight, oh my god, who's the bubble fruit, the girl that fights Nami. Everybody has somebody cool to fight during Ernie's Lobby. At the end of it, after Ernie's Lobby is when you start to get even more, you know, story about, you see Ace and Blackbeard fighting. You also get a glimpse of Shanks again with Whitebeard, the first time you see Whitebeard. Yeah, and I also forgot to talk about, a couple arcs ago, we also met Monkey D. Garp. So Monkey D. Garp is out there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot. Pretty soon after Frankie officially joins the crew, and also, yeah, the end of Ernie's Lobby, Water 7, Frankie didn't want to go, and a really funny scene I thought was with Nico Robin. But pretty soon after that, the crew thinks they're going one place, but they end up in Thriller Bark. So Thriller Bark was cool. It was like horror, a lot of zombies. They also meet Thriller Bark, you meet characters like Perona, but before that, you know, Chopper being a doctor, he's a fan of Dr. Hullback, which I thought was cool. And you meet Gecko Moria. And at first I didn't think Gecko Moria was really a threat. I really didn't see, you know, Gecko Moria as a threat. But I thought it was cool, you know, Perona, Dr. Hullback, Gecko Moria, all these characters. And then eventually, you know, they take away everybody's shadow and they summon this giant beast that is acting like Luffy. It was good. And then they had to put all the zombies into Luffy. Somebody's trying to marry Nami. It was great. It was great. And it ends, and that's pretty much where I'm at. What happens after that, you know, they just revealed that Ace is in Impel Down. You know, after Thriller Bark, they were, you know, moving around until they found a mermaid, and this brought them to the Sabadi Archipelago. And I just met a bunch of cool characters. I just met kid. I just met Law, but I haven't seen much else, and I just know it's gonna get crazy. Whew. So that is where I'm at in One Piece, guys. That is a little bit of my review of One Piece. Man, what a good time that was. So real quick, one more time. We talked about all the first issues because I was able to pull them out easily. You know, this is where the crew all meets together. And another thing I will say about the comics is, or the manga, is they look great, you know, when you collect them all because they're so colorful. What was my favorite art? I mean, for me, Alabasta was a pretty classic arc. Alabasta was a pretty classic art, but for me, it just keeps going. So we're just checking out all the different covers. Oh, you know what was one of my favorite parts? Okay, in Ernie's lobby, they talk about Robin's backstory. How she came from an island and they show her mom. And we meet characters like, what is his name? Kuzan? And Kuzan is actually the one who saved Robin from that whole mess and let her escape. So we run into them every now and again. But eventually that whole thing is gonna explode. Here we're looking at Skypiea. And Nero, the bad guy Skypiea, he was the coolest. And then yeah, where I left off at, they're talking about, you know, how Kid and Law have a high bounty. Yo, you know, it's a good thing that I look back because I think some of these characters are coming back. Even the characters that are kind of rare, they're great. What is this, Miss Wednesday? Gotta love the different costumes and everything that they get. Shout outs to Vivi from Alabasta. This is more Sky Island. The Foxy Pirate cover. Here's the Water 7 cover with Van Lucci. Can't forget about Sniper King, Usopp. Yeah, can't forget about Robin looking like she betrayed us, but you know that she's always for the greater good. And then yeah, the Sea Train and everybody in Water 7 was cool. Everybody in Water 7 and Frankie's crew, you know, they're good people. And this is the first mermaid we've ever seen, but we try to erase that from our memory. Here are all the covers from Ernie's lobby. So this is number 39. This is number 40. This is one of my favorites right here. I was talking about before with Nico Robin's backstory and her mom. This is 41. And then this is a great cover because this is this whole crew, Van Lucci and all these guys. This was an epic battle. This was actually one of my favorites. Ernie's lobby. I was talking about one of my favorite sagas so far. This fight actually, where everybody had their own fight, that was one of my highlights. And then Robin's backstory, that was good. That was good because I liked Alabasta so much, and then yeah, that was good. But another favorite part of mine is that in between the arcs, how I'm getting all this new info. Like where I'm at now, they even mentioned Empress Hancock. There's a great cover with Chopper transformed. Some of you guys may know that that's usually who I cosplay. I almost wore the hat in this video. This is a great cover with Robin on the cover. My favorite character. Are you kidding me? Let me know what your favorite character is, guys. And then yes, Luffy going Gear 2. That's where I'm at. He's always using Gear 2. And then yes guys, 45. Look, this is a cover where everybody: Shanks, Ace, Monkey D. Garp, Whitebeard, Blackbeard. This is what I'm talking about. After the arcs where they drop a lot of info. They even talk about Luffy's dad. They even talk about Luffy's dad, Dragon. So I haven't seen everything. That's all I've seen. And then next was Thriller Bark, which they didn't mean to go to, but that's where they wound up. And it's a really cool arc that's like horror themed, and it's just all around funny. And I like how crazy it gets, almost like a kaiju movie. I like when in animes they summon some crazy stuff. And then Luffy turns into a zombie. And Zoro has some good fights. Everybody has some good fights in Thriller Bark. And then that leads us to where I'm at now, where these guys we met have higher bounties than Luffy. You know, Kid, Law, Capone, Jewelry Bonnet, and Ace. But Luffy's not gonna save Ace yet because he's fine. Wow, look at this. On this cover right here, Luffy has Ace's paper in his mouth, guys. He has Ace's paper in his mouth. He's got Ace's paper in his mouth on the cover. And that Nami is awesome. But guys, that is my review of One Piece for now. You know, as I keep going, I'll be able to, you know, give you more of a review of the arcs. But this is my review of the first 50 arcs in One Piece, guys. So let me know what you think. Oh, I hope you enjoyed. It was like you got to hang out with me. And we're gonna do more anime reviews. We're gonna do more reviews of just stuff in general, you know. And a big part of why I like One Piece is because I'm real involved in the cosplay community, Comic-Con community, and shout outs to all my friends, you know, whether it's Living Legacy or my friend Suave. You know, they've been big into One Piece for years, and I've always liked it, but I gotta catch up. Also, my friend Suwon Yu, you know, he's always been caught up on One Piece. But thank you guys. This has been me, GOCARLO, and like, comment, subscribe, and hell yeah, thank you guys.